My name is Janet and I'm an atheist. I'd consider myself a very down-to-earth person. I like to garden. I love art. I'm dipping into photography as a hobby now. So I spend a lot of time outside when the weather is nice. I grew up in a very small town that didn't have a lot of diversity in it. So essentially the only thing on Sunday that would be open would probably be a church. It was like the whole town closed down on Sunday. I even think they had a no lawn cutting ordinance. We only occasioned an Episcopal church, mainly just on holidays, and I think that was only for a short period of time. My father definitely was not a rule follower, so I would say that I did not grow up in a religious family. During my childhood, I would think I really wasn't educated on religion. When I was young, I thought everybody just was either Christian or Catholic because of the low amount of diversity in the town. We moved when I was in middle school, and that's when a lot of diversity came into my life. I went with friends as visitors to a Baptist church. My father became spiritual at that time, and by that time I took it more as a turn-off than anything of interest. It was when I moved out in probably my early 20s, late teens, that I started reading the Bible, and when I read what it took to believe to be a Christian, I realized that I was never a Christian because I could not believe what it takes to be a Christian. It's almost like reading something that is unbelievable. I did. I would say as an adult, I explored Judaism. I got into New Age, and I would consider myself at that point an agnostic to a God. I thought if I did believe anything, it would be more, I could either be a Buddhist or I could be Jewish. More agnostic to believing in a God, but once I realized after reading the Bible, I knew that I could not be a Christian. Not really growing up. I did experiment with a couple different churches. When I was a teen, I went to a Baptist church. In my late teens, maybe early 20s, I experimented with an evangelical church. I tried to visit different places. I always felt I never fit anywhere, so I kept trying different things and trying different churches, but I could never get the feeling that everybody told you got from the church, so I never fit in, so I just kept searching and searching and searching. It wasn't until I went to my first meetup. It was an atheist group, and I left there feeling I finally met some people that I fit in. So this is where I belong. I consider myself an open book type of person. So as far as that, yes, I'm very open when the situation's appropriate. I don't walk up to somebody and divulge it if the situation isn't flaunt or divulge it if the situation isn't appropriate. But if I'm questioned upon it or anything like that, I'm open about it. I'm very resolute in my opinions about almost everything. So I'm really not a good one to debate the issue. I mean, because I try to, with my close friends and things like that, I like to have the attitude, let's agree to disagree, because we're definitely going to do that. And if you can't accept me for how I am, and I can't accept you for how you are, then there's really not a good bond of friendship there. I haven't really had any confrontation, and I know it's hard for a lot of people who feel, who are in fear for us in the long run because of what they feel strongly about for themselves. But that's just in general where we have to have the respect for each other. I've been to a couple different atheist free thought conventions. I've been to the American Atheist Convention. I also went out to the Reason Rally in Washington, D.C. last year. It was a wonderful experience. I volunteered there. I've been to FFRF conventions as well. It's a good experience. I think what comes personal to me is the separation of church and state issues when it comes into the public schools and into children. I think it's very important to educate people. I think not a lot of the administration and teachers are educated about how the fact that they need to remain neutral on things. They have their own personal beliefs, but they need to make the children all feel welcome and comfortable there, and it's very important that they remain neutral of their opinions and keep that to themselves. The population in the elementary school my children are in, there was a large Jehovah's Witness population of students, and I didn't like the fact that they always had to leave the classrooms when they did things that they weren't allowed to participate in, or they didn't feel comfortable participating in, or their families wouldn't allow them to participate in. I tried to get some of those things removed, and I got a lot of eye rolls from the administration and the PTOs when I brought it up to try to get rid of the Secret Santa shops, the holiday parties, even though they were tagged fall parties, not Halloween parties, or winter parties versus Christmas parties. They still needed to be excluded from those birthday parties, and I didn't feel that it's right to exclude any child or make them feel not comfortable. So even if you exclude one child, that's just one too many. And I think it's very important that we educate people and let them know that it's a right for them to be diverse. When I met my husband, he's an atheist. My husband's an atheist. It was actually when I met him that I started to think about it intellectually. He sort of opened my eyes to it intellectually as being no God. He also opened my eyes to the separation of church and state issues that are real prevalent out there, and I sort of took off with it a little bit more. I think I'm a little bit more boisterous than him now. We have two girls. We're raising them in an atheist family. The only thing I would say is we're not requiring them to be atheists. They have questions, we answer them. They're welcome to go to churches with friends, things. We always discuss it with them before and after. We let that be their choice to do it. I believe they consider themselves atheists, but I feel we're giving them the gift of choice. They know that just because their parents are both atheists doesn't mean that they need to be atheists, and they're allowed to choose what they feel that's right for them. When my husband and I had children, we discussed it, whether we were going to bring them up with Christmas or holidays that are typically associated with Christianity. We decided that we were going to celebrate Christmas. We did educate our children on what the Christians believe Christmas is. We celebrated it more of just a tradition of gift giving with the Santa Claus, all the gifts, the tree, things of that sort. Now that they're getting older, of course, they know there is no Santa. We still do gifts, but we downplay all the other. Last couple of years, we have not gotten a tree. When they were in elementary school, I was pretty much their voice. I had to file some formal complaints. There were some violations of separation of church and state matter. And I filed a couple formal complaints. We had one administrator come into the room and say, what would God think? You all go to church on Sunday, right? Very, very inappropriate. So I filed a formal complaint on that. Another occasion was they took a collection for a Jesus-focused charity in our town, which I thought was inappropriate, as well as we had administration get up and say God bless at the end of a program. The school that my daughters went to had a large Jehovah's Witness population in it. Those children, I always felt, were being excluded from the classroom, whether it was their choice or not, to not be able to participate because of their parents' beliefs. I didn't feel it's appropriate to have anything in the classroom that would exclude even one child. I got quite a few eye rolls at the PTO meetings when I brought it up that we needed to eliminate these parties and secret Santa shops, things of that sort. So it really wasn't taken on a good thought, but I just try to educate them. I was successful when I had the music teacher tell my daughters that she had to change the lyrics. She told the class, we have to change the lyrics. It's making my job harder because we'll have a parent that's going to complain about it. I really wish she would have just said we have to change the lyrics because it's not appropriate for a public school, rather than just telling the children that it's making your job harder and that it's, somebody's going to complain. People need to be educated. I think a lot of people with their own beliefs, they just take it that that's the norm and they don't take other people's feelings into consideration. What I did is, on a couple instances, I filed formal grievances with the school. On two occasions that didn't really relate to my daughters, there was a couple separation of church and state issues. I formed two groups of people to go down and speak on different occasions to the Board of Education, and we spoke as a group. One was where they wanted to hold the graduation in a church to save some money. So we went down and spoke, in addition to other people came and spoke that were outside our group, just how it would feel for people of different beliefs to have to go into a Christian church and have their graduation. They would have to be excluded from it. Another was the partnership between the Salvation Army for a food drive. The food drive is a wonderful thing and it is a secular thing, but the food was actually being used for a non-secular event. It was being used for Christmas meal baskets. So I didn't feel that it was appropriate for the public schools to be collecting for a Jesus-focused organization that was strictly emphasizing on a Christian holiday meal. No, I had a lot of help from some of the major organizations. They wrote letters to help educate the Board of Education and the administration of the school district. That would be America's United for Separation of Church and State, American Atheist, and FFRF. I also got a lot of, I don't want to really say counseling from them, but they actually took the time to help me differentiate the laws and the fine line between what is legal and what is not legal, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So it helped educate myself as well on where to focus. I don't want to be a nitpicker, but whether you do have validity in it or not. If you do have issues, speak up. Do it in a nice manner, just to, even if you don't file a formal complaint, at least bring it to their attention that it is a violation and it isn't correct, and give them an understanding what it feels to be on the opposite side of it. Because I really believe if somebody was coming in against their religion, they would feel the same way that we would. And I think it's so inbred into their lives that they don't really feel that they're doing anything wrong. So I don't think a lot of it is intentionally doing it. I think it's just them being uneducated, that they need to be very neutral in those public schools. Now that they've gone through middle school and are in high school, I sort of let my children have that be their own territory. If there was a major violation or something of that, I would speak out. But I think they're to the age now and need to experience, and I give them the freedom and to either speak or swallow on their own choices. If there is a matter, we do discuss it, but I will back off. And I'm going to let them just take control and do it how they feel that's right for them, not what my opinion is. We raise our children to think for themselves, not to be followers, and just not on religion, but when anybody in general, even advertisements, anything that people are just trying to entice you anything and it looks so good to be true, we always caution them to question that and to think it out and investigate it. And that's on every matter other than just religion. I think it's very important. I'm very proud of our girls. They have very, very high morals. They question me a lot of times with that. They have been in their education, things like that, by teachers, administration. They're always applauded on their good morals and good ethics. And I'm just very proud that how naturally that comes to them. It's not something that they really needed to be taught. And I just think it's great that that comes naturally to them without having any fear of anything not to be. It's just come very natural to them, and I'm very, very proud of who they are. I would say, rather than to hold fast on what you believe, that's great for you as an individual, but not everybody is, and have consideration of other people and be a little bit more empathetic towards other people's views. How offensive you might get on something, what is your norm is maybe offensive. I would encourage anybody of any faith just to investigate and do a lot of research on another religion. I feel, the way I feel about religions would be like, say, if a Christian person tried to study a different religion, they would realize how absurd it is. When I read the Bible, anything like that, it's just, as an adult, it just seems so unreal and unbelievable that I feel that if other people studied other religions, they may look at their own differently. I would say, hold true to what you believe, agree to disagree, and just do what works best for you. Don't be a follower, don't be, whatever. Hold true if somebody questions you. Sorry.